A wise man once said, if you have an issue, here's a tissue.
If you've got an issue, here's a tissue.
Okay, maybe he wasn't a wise man, but he had a point on the tissues. Because the global health burden of allergies has been nothing but up and to the right since we started tracking it decades ago. And with that, I could only imagine tissue sales too. Although, I'll have to get back to you with the data on that. All of this makes the research that we're going to review today, highlighting a potential natural remedy, even more interesting. And I bet you're never going to guess who's here to save the day again. Let's go. Yo, what is up? Welcome back to another week of How to Health. My name is Kevin. I run liftingbalance.com, where we take aim at all things health and longevity and do it in an odd, weird, interesting, and highly sarcastic way. Today, we're talking peanuts. Well, allergies in general. I just say peanuts because they seem to be the current day king of the allergenic castle. But truth be told, allergic conditions in general, including sinus congestion, asthma, skin, and food allergies, have all been increasing in frequency over the last few decades. And although there are several theories out there as to why, including early life environment, being overly cleanly, aka the hygiene hypothesis, the ultra-processed Western diet, environmental and household toxins, gut and microbiome dysfunction, epigenetics, metabolic disease, and simply better tracking of issues that have always been there, an exact root cause has yet to be identified, leaving up to 40% of the global population dealing with some sort of chronic allergy in this modern world, which in a world pushing 9 billion people is quite a lot. And the reason this seems to be such a tough conundrum to solve is the fact that the mechanisms of action for all of these specific conditions are multimodal and unique, with the only true consistency between them being their high-level response. The response which gives these conditions their official allergenic classification, and that is inflammation, or the immune response. This is because an allergy is defined as a normally harmless foreign substance, an allergen, which interacts with the body in such a way that ends up triggering its army of immune soldiers within. A response which drive the common episodes of skin flare-ups, sinus congestion, airway tightening, and gastrointestinal distress. In other words, inflammatory episodes. Episodes which are uncomfortable at best and life-threatening at worst. However, for most, this ends up just being a chronically annoying situation, which unknowingly slowly chips away at their physical and psychological well-being, and thus their longevity. Which makes this new study highlighting a potential natural remedy, along with some of the underlying mechanisms at play when it comes to food allergies, so very interesting. Let's take a look. And as you could have guessed, the first stop on this journey is the gut, where it has been previously observed that specialized gut-specific immune cells called dendritic cells, which you can think of as animal control for the gut, produce an enzyme called retinaldehyde dehydrogenase 2, or RALDH2, which through a series of reactions creates retinoic acid. And at this point, you may be thinking, okay, so what? Well, this becomes more significant when I tell you that this retinoic acid then promotes the development of regulatory T cells, or a type of immune cell that can suppress the immune response to allergies. Oh, do I have your attention now? Good. Here, researchers at the Tokyo University of Science acted on previous inklings to explore if there may be any flavonoids that can increase RALDH2 levels in dendritic cells. And if you're new to that term, flavonoids, as discussed here, are a diverse group of phytonutrients or plant compounds found in various fruits, vegetables, grains, roots, flowers, teas, and even wine, which have very unique and often beneficial cellular modulating effects, as these mighty plant compounds have been observed to have potent antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, longevity-promoting properties. Thus, why an apple a day may be a lot truer than you ever thought. But Old Adages 101 is a topic for another day. Returning back to the study, to explore this hypothesis, researchers screened around 40 different flavonoids to see if they increased RAL-DH2 levels in dendritic cells. And they found the most effective of these was a compound called camphorol, which is naturally found in fruits such as apples, grapes, tomatoes, and berries, as well as in vegetables like broccoli, kale, cabbage, beans, leeks, and spinach. So, as any good researchers would, they chose to look into this further using both in vitro and mouse models. And what they found were some very interesting, eye-opening things. Starting with the in vitro out-of-body cell cultures, they first found that camphorol treatment increased the expression and efficiency of RAL-DH2 in dendritic cells. You don't say. Also observing that these camphorol-treated dendritic cells promoted regulatory T cell development, highlighting its promise in modulating the immune response. Next, to dig deeper on the mechanisms involved in this process, they honed in on a receptor called AHR, which is targeted by camphorol, observing that camphorol acts as an antagonist or something that blocks AHR, which in turn happens to accelerate regulatory T cell development. And when they looked into the genetic changes induced by camphorol, they saw that this flavonoid enhanced the genes associated with producing RAL-DH2 as well as an overall anti-inflammatory response. And I'm no Einstein, but if allergies are essentially an immune response, then that is probably a good thing. And yes, I understand that Einstein was a physicist, so not really relevant here, but moving on. From here, it was time to see if the responses carried over to a living organism. And to do this, the researchers leveraged mice, inducing allergies in said mice using a common allergen from egg whites called OVA. And once the allergies were in full swing, they administered the camphorol to observe the response. And to their surprise, they found that it did in fact alleviate the mice's allergenic symptoms, quoting that the rapid decrease in body temperature and allergic diarrhea observed after the OVA administration were significantly suppressed in mice that were administered camphorol. You don't say. I guess the let food be thy medicine added another notch on its belt today. And the researchers happen to agree, stating that the chemical structure of flavonoids may play a role in their ability to accelerate regulatory T cell development, and thus have significant implications for how we treat allergies. In addition, regular intake of foods containing high amounts of flavonoids could serve as natural remedies to alleviate allergic symptoms. Pretty damn cool if you ask me. Now, I must add the obligatory disclaimer here. This has only been shown in cell cultures and animal models. Thus, more, particularly human research, is needed to truly solidify this link. But nonetheless, data like this is super interesting, displaying the promise of how individuals may be able to alleviate the propensity for allergies through lifestyle. Which begs the question, are there any other interventions that could be helpful? A great question indeed. Let's talk about it. And it probably won't be a surprise that we start with the common theme. Not just for allergies, but the theme which is present across pretty much every condition and disease we modern intelligent walking apes face. Inflammation, specifically the chronic type, as a chronically overactive immune system brings with it damage, dysfunction, and destruction. The exact opposite of biological vitality. So step one in this allergy prevention plan, at least from my non-expert yet been doing this longevity science thing for a while perspective, is to do the things that will promote your immune system to function the way that it was built to function. And that is being acute and specific, meaning being quiet and on patrol until an injury or external threat presents itself, which is something our modern Western, ultra-processed, ultra-sedentary, sleep and nature-deprived, toxic and stress-riddled lifestyle does the exact opposite of. Thus, why we want to take the opposite path of that. Because when we do, we drive cellular and metabolic efficiency. Efficiency which naturally comes with, you guessed it, less inflammation. This includes performing daily badonkadonking, aka exercise, because one of its many benefits is a wide-ranging, long-lasting anti-inflammatory effect throughout the body. This happens as a direct byproduct of exercise and a longer-term mitochondria efficiency effect. So you're going to want to do it. Then we have none other than prioritizing real, whole, nourishing foods, because as we saw today, they are filled with vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, flavonoids, healthy fats, fiber, and protein, which modulate key immune cells, fuel cellular efficiency, strengthen the body's barriers like the gut wall, which happens to be a major infiltration point for inflammation to be triggered, as we discussed here, and fight inflammation driving free radicals. That being said, the most valuable and undercover sneaky best thing that this real food may do is modulate the trillions of microbes in the gut towards communities which promote peace and efficiency rather than inflammation and chaos. This right here may be one of the reasons that there are so many links between allergies and gut dysbiosis. Speaking of modulating microbes, another great way to do this and tune your immune system at the same time is by spending more time getting dirty in nature. As the abundant world of outdoor organisms, 99% of which are totally benign and neutral, help make our microbiome more diverse and our immune system more specific, meaning less susceptible to false alarms like pollen. An additional tool in the anti-inflammatory toolbox is strategic meal timing. As practices such as daily time-restricted feeding and intermittent fasting have displayed the ability to upregulate beneficial rest, rejuvenation, and repair pathways which modulate the immune system in an anti-inflammatory way. Ways we talk all about across the Fasting 101 playlist. Lastly, and the habit many people call the hardest, is high-quality circadian aligned sleep, as research has shown that anything but it on a consistent basis dysregulates the immune system, drives cellular dysfunction, and results in elevated markers of chronic inflammation throughout the body. Not cool. I know. So aim to rise and fall with the sun, prioritizing a consistent 8-hour sleep opportunity each night in between. Other key modulators of your inflammatory situation to keep in mind include stress, as low-dose chronic stress is right up there with chronic inflammation in its nefarious full-body cellular damaging effects, exposure to pollutants and everyday toxins including smoke, exhaust, unfiltered water, and chemicals in everyday products, and even breathing right, as nasal breathing is one of the most underutilized health tools that you have access to, as we recently discussed here. Like I alluded to before, with more efficiency comes less inflammation. And by owning your health through lifestyle, you at least give your body a chance to do its thing. And when you do, you'll probably be extremely surprised of what it's capable of, feeling how you're capable of feeling. Maybe it doesn't solve your allergies, but what it will do is make many other things around them much better, thus having a net positive impact no matter what. I mean, imagine a few months from now not having to call your tissue dealer anymore.
Fact, oh, come on.
Yeah, that guy. It makes you just want to go,
Yeah, baby.
couldn't have said it better myself.